Hey everyone, today we're diving into something that trips up even the most talented professionals out there. The expert trap. You know that feeling? That pressure to have the perfect answer, like right now? We're going to break down why that happens and how a really simple shift in your mindset can turn you into a much, much better problem solver.
So, let me ask you this. A big, hairy problem lands on your desk at work. What's your immediate, gut-level instinct? Do you jump straight to a solution based on what you've seen before? Or do you pause? Your answer really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today.
All right, let's talk about what we call the expert mindset. This is that internal voice, that belief that because you're a professional, you're just supposed to know the answer instantly. And when the stakes are high, that pressure can really back us into a dangerous corner.
So what happens? We default to our gut. We lean on our past experiences, and we make snap judgments. There's this intense bias toward action, right? We feel like we have to do something. But the danger is, this can lead us to solve the completely wrong problem. Let me show you what I mean.
Okay, so meet Joe. He's a manager at this super busy warehouse. Everything's humming along just fine. Packages are going out, payment notifications are coming in, and then, all of a sudden, silence. The system just stops. This has never happened before, and he knows this could be a total catastrophe.
So Joe's mind is racing. His first instinct is to check the usual suspects, right? He calls IT, he checks with the drivers, but everything seems to be fine on their end. Then, a thought pops into his head. He remembers watching this TV special just last night about corporate hacking. In the heat of the moment, it feels like the only explanation. He declares, "We've been..."
And here's the crucial mistake. Joe, totally driven by his expert instinct and maybe a little bit of what he saw on TV, skipped the single most important step in problem solving. He never actually stopped to define what the problem really was. He just leaped straight to a conclusion. So, if the expert mindset is the trap, how do you get out of it? Well, the key is to make a shift. It's about adopting a curious mindset. And honestly, this is what separates the truly great problem solvers from everybody else.
Just look at the contrast here. The expert mindset is all about gut feel, rushing to a conclusion. But the curious mindset, it's deliberate. It's about using a structured approach, asking smart questions to get clarity, and then actually testing your ideas. It's about taking that crucial pause before you pounce.
And just to be clear, this isn't about, just randomly asking questions. It's about channeling that curiosity through a proven structure. The best problem solvers aren't born that way. They learn a framework that guides their thinking. And here it is. This is the roadmap for that structured approach. It's the 7 steps of hypothesis-led problem solving. And notice, it starts exactly where Joe went wrong, defining the problem. From there, you structure it, you prioritize, you plan your work, you do the analysis, synthesize what you've learned, and then you develop recommendations. This whole process is your safeguard against jumping to conclusions.
Now, to make this framework even more powerful, there are 2 tools that you absolutely need to have in your back pocket. They will help you structure your thinking with incredible clarity.
Okay, the first one is a principle called MISI. I know, it sounds kind of technical, but the idea behind it is so simple. It stands for mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. Really, it's just a fancy way of saying that when you break a problem down into smaller pieces, the pieces shouldn't overlap, and altogether they should cover all the possibilities. Simple as that. No overlaps, no gaps.
And this example just makes it crystal clear. If you make a list like breakfast, lunch, meals, that's not MIS. Why? Because breakfast and lunch are types of meals. They overlap. But a list like revenue and costs to figure out profit, that's perfectly MIS. The 2 categories are totally separate, and together they give you the full picture.
The second tool is one you've probably heard of, the 80-20 rule. You might also know it as the Pareto principle. This is your absolute best friend when it comes to prioritizing once you've actually structured the problem.
The idea is so simple but so powerful. For many things, roughly 80% of your results are going to come from just 20% of your efforts. Your job is to figure out what that critical 20% is and focus all your energy there, instead of trying to analyze absolutely everything.
Okay, so you've used MIS to structure your problem and the 80-20 rule to focus your work. Now what? What's the whole point of this? The ultimate goal of this entire process is to move beyond just listing a bunch of facts. It's about creating real insight through synthesis.
And this little story explains the difference perfectly. A woman named Ingrid was waiting for her brother for dinner. He sends her this super long text message. My meeting ran late, then there was traffic, I just missed the train, a whole list of events, right? That's the summary. What was the synthesis? 3 simple words. I'm gonna be late. See the difference?
A summary tells you what happened. It's a list of facts. But a synthesis tells you the so what. It's the insight, the bottom line, the thing that actually matters to the person listening. That's what separates a great strategist from a good analyst.
All right, let's make this really practical. I want you to try this today. First, think back to a recent problem you had to solve and ask yourself, how might using a more structured approach have changed the outcome, maybe for the better? Second, practice being Mies. Just take a simple topic, like your monthly expenses, and try to break it down into categories with no overlaps and no gaps.
Look, using these tools definitely takes practice, but I promise you, it's a total game changer for how you'll approach challenges. And really, this whole curious, structured approach is built on a foundation of believing that you can always learn and get better. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into tomorrow for day 6, when we talk about the power of a growth mindset.
So, I'll leave you with this to think about. The next time a complex, messy challenge lands on your desk, how are you going to structure your thinking before you jump into action?